What's up, guys? It is Thursday, August 23rd, and so I had what I thought was a sick kid. The wife came home early yesterday to take care of her, 100 and something degree fever and throwing up, all the good stuff. So I took today off, and lo and behold, now she is absolutely fine and wearing me out. So while she's outside playing, I'm going to try to work on the front yard where I did round up a second time part of the areas of the front yard where the crabgrass was. So I bought a few things here. So I got a cultivator, or a garden weasel, whatever you want to call it. Got a landscaping rake, and I got a few bags of the Scott's topsoil. Lowe's has some other topsoil. There's like $1.40 a bag. It was an Evergreen brand. I didn't know anything about it, and okay. So I didn't really know much about it. So the Scott, I figured what might be a little bit safer to put in the yard, not reintroducing more weeds into my yard with this topsoil. So I decided to go with the Scott brand topsoil just because I'm not top dressing my whole lawn. I'm just putting some topsoil down on the areas where all that crabgrass was, and I have the huge brown spots now. So I only got 4 bags of it. Figure that should be enough. Just kind of give it a little bit of a coat before I put the seed down, and I get that all kind of mixed in. So I'm going to get to it. I'm going to take the cultivator and start breaking up all the dead grass that's there, and go over that, get the soil down, get some seed down, and I'll probably end up just using my Scott's tall fescue. Yeah. Am I ever going to stop talking? Now it's for a video.
We're talking on phone.
Yeah, I'm talking on my phone. So I'm not going to use the GCI turf seed just yet. I'm going to use my my leftover Scott's tall fescue. Put that down because I don't want to crack open the GCI grass seed until I'm ready to do that backyard reno, which I'm still waiting on the concrete company to give me a date. So the more they keep pushing back, the more it pushes back me being able to start on that backyard. Last time we tried to find out, it was supposed to be 6 weeks from the beginning of July. So now, it's well beyond that, but we've had tons of rain, so it keeps pushing them back from pouring the concrete. So that's why I haven't ultimately started this backyard reno yet, because I keep getting pushed back. So the more I push back or get pushed back on the concrete, the more I have to, push my backyard reno back. So it's kind of the way it is. But once I get a date and can start doing that, then ultimately I'll go over it with a slit seeder and hit the whole yard. But I wanted to at least get these nasty brown spots taken care of, so I can at least get that looking a little bit better, because the whole yard looks decent minus huge dead spots now. So I'm going to get to it. All right, so I'm going through the front yard now, all the dead areas. So it's kicking out all the dead grass here. That's when I started using this cultivator. Has the option to remove a couple of the I don't know what you call it, splines or whatever out of the middle. So when I was going over it with all 3 of them in there, this thing got clogged up pretty easy with all the dead grass. Maybe a smart thing to do would probably be to try to rake all this out first, but I removed the center one, and it seems to go through here no problem, and doesn't clog up or anything on me now. So I'm going to keep on going through here. So far it's doing a pretty good job tearing up all the ground through here. So I'm going to get all this kind of churned up, and then I'll go in with some of my seed on my topsoil, and then seed, and maybe kind of rake it in a little bit more and toss a little bit of peat moss on top. The topsoil looks like it does have some peat moss mixed in already, but I don't know how much. So I'll put a little bit more on it, and then water this down really good. And hopefully here before long I'll start getting rid of these brown spots. Alright, so I finally have the grass all pulled up, and I have the topsoil put down. So I did a small top dress coat across here. So it's mostly blending in, the best I can do anyway. I took a detach rake, went across it. So that is all ran across. I ended up using about 8 bags of this Scott's topsoil. Had a little bit of peat moss in it. So I think about the 6th or 7th bag, found a nice sized rock in it. So way to go, Scott's. So now, while I'm on with Scott's, I'm going to put down the grass seed. So it's just what I have left over. I'm not ready to use the GCI grass seed yet until I do the overseed in a little bit, which I mentioned earlier. So I'm going to start throwing this down, and I'll take the cultivator, go over a little bit more, kind of get it into the soil, and throw a tiny bit of peat moss down, and then I'll throw down a nice watering on it and get that in. So I ran out of Scott's grass seed. I've got about 4 patches left, and so I think what I'm going to do is I went ahead and busted out the GCI grass seed. So there we go. Got some in the my kid's bucket here. Not a whole lot, but so what I'm going to do is my 4 spots closest to the road here. 1 there, 2, 3, and 4. I will put the GCI grass seed in here, and we'll see what that looks like compared to the Scott's grass seed. So I fished things up last night. I threw a dusting of peat moss down. Got all that down. I put the Scott's seed up through here. I ran out, so the spots here, 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 and here are actually the GCI seed. So I'll get a little bit of a comparison between the GCI seed and the Scott's seed as far as the germination speed time, and I'll keep watering it. I didn't get to water last night because it got so late, and I didn't want to be spraying water overnight and risk getting a little bit of a fungus going on. So did a little bit this morning. I just kind of took the hose and sprayed it down just to try to get things a little bit wet. So I got the sprinkler going on it now. It'll go for about 20 minutes, half hour. That should give me maybe like a full day without having to water. I'd rather do more infrequent and deeper watering, but I'll kind of just keep an eye on the peat moss, and as it dries up, I'll take the sprinkler to it again. So we'll check back on this here in probably about 4 or 5 days. I'm thinking that this GCI seed will probably start germinating fairly quick for what I've been seeing from some of the other people who have the seed. Between 4 and 5 days, and like potted plants, they had about 4 or 5 day germination. So we shall see. Alright, so it is Tuesday, August 28th. Give a update on the back of the house that you saw that I was tearing apart and putting back together, where there was the massive hole from the deck causing rotting. So we did manage to get some paint. Trying to get out of the sun here. Trying to get some paint matched up from Lowe's. Luckily had a old piece of the trim that we were able to take to Lowe's. They took their gun to it and they were able to match up the color. Pretty dang close. Actually, it looked pretty good. So the wife just painted it. So that's where we're at. So she went through in this whole fascia board here on the bottom, a 1x8. She went through with 1 coat, painted that, and she went ahead and went down through there and painted all of it. So it all came out pretty dang good. So I must say I'm pretty happy with it. I went on the inside of the house, and all the old insulation, it was R12 insulation that was up against where that bump out you just saw, and along that wall down the basement. I ripped all that out because it was just full of like acorns and walnuts and just mouse poop and all that stuff. So I wanted to get all that out and, you know, kind of clean and sterilize that out as much as I could. So all the R12 insulation came out. I had tons of that R30 insulation left from where I put it in the bump out from the outside. So I just cut a bunch of it down, and I put all the way through where the R12 insulation was, so it should actually give me a little bit more of a benefit here in this winter, and I guess even during the summer, trying to keep the heat out and the cold in, depending on the season. So I think that'll work out pretty nice. All right, let's take a look at the front of the house. As you remember, I did my thing to that, nuked it out, and put the topsoil down, did a little top dressing, some peat moss, some grass seed, some areas. So this area is all the Scots. Areas out here is all the Scots. And then the 4 spots closest to the road, so one here, one here, one here, and one over here is all the Scots. Or, I'm sorry, this is the GCI here. The rest of this here, 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 and all this section through here is all the Scots tall fescue mix. So we'll be able to see how all that is coming up, if the GCI comes up faster than the Scots or vice versa, and might be able to see a little bit of a color difference. So when I put all that down, it was pretty late when I got the peat moss down. Didn't even have time to water the peat moss down that night. I wait till the next morning to water. And usually I put down the starter fertilizer and a little bit of Milorganite down at the same time to get all that fertilizer down, so when it comes up, it'll really take off growing. But it was late and I didn't get to it. And then ultimately when I started watering, I just honestly forgot about it. So I put that down on, I think that was Thursday, 28th, 27th, 26th, 5th, 24th. I believe that's the 23rd that I put all the way down the night of the 23rd, watered the day of the 24th, that Friday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, essentially 4 days now that I've gone without the starter fertilizer down. But I did just put that down while I was thinking about it. So that's put down. And then I did notice while I was in my shed and I moved the starter fertilizer, I had about a half bag of Ringer Lawn Restore that I put down back in, I believe, April or May. And there was a couple nice sized holes in the bag where some mice got into the shed, which I've had, there's always been issues because they can get in through the double doors that open up and everything. So it's, it's a shed, things are going to get in there. But they got into my ringer. So I'm about due to put down another half dose of Milorganite, as well as my humic acid and sea kelp. So what I'm going to do is the rate recommended on the Ringer Lawn Restore, the setting on it is 7.5 according to my Scott's Edge Guard. I'm going to bump it down a little bit, that way I'm not doing a full dose since I've been kind of spoon feeding this summer. So I'll put a little bit of that down, and then that will put me at roughly, see, it's almost beginning of September. Maybe I'll do another dose of actual full Milorganite, full dose. I would say I'll be doing that maybe when I do my overseed project, which is looking like, it's the 28th now. I still haven't heard back from the patio guys. So at this point, I am not sure if I will be able to do my backyard reno this fall, because they've been so far behind. It's put me in a time crunch. So I don't want to be trying to do a backyard renovation in mid-October when you're getting that close to frost hitting. So at this point, I'm thinking it might not happen, which really makes me mad, because I've been talking about it for a month now, saying that I was going to do it. I bought the Roundup and I had all the chemicals ready to spray it, ready to go. I have the grass seed ready to go, and the patio guys have kind of put it to me, but not all their fault, I guess, because they've been rained out for quite a few weeks. But at the same time, though, when you ask them where we at, what's the timeline, are we looking at October, and they don't respond, that kind of makes me mad, honestly. Especially when you've already given me a down payment for them to do the work and get on the schedule, and then when you try to get a more definitive schedule, they don't answer you. That makes me mad, honestly. But you know, it is what it is. I know they're a reputable company, so they will do it. It's just a matter of, you know, them giving me an actual timeline. So we'll see on that. But unless they call me, you know, tomorrow, and it would take a full week for them to do that, then I would be looking at, you know, still that first week of September to be able to do the backyard. But if they don't call me within the next couple of days, I don't think it's going to happen. So it is what it is. So anyway, let's. I want to get down the a little bit of a dose of the Ringer Lawn Restore, just because I pretty much have to get rid of it because the bag was all chewed up. So I want to get me down some Ringer. I'm going to put it down the backyard first, because that's a 2,000 square foot area. I have about half a bag, so that should take care of most of the bag. Actually, probably even a little bit more than that because I'm not doing the full dose. But I'll start with the back, and then maybe I'll do kind of like the side yard a little bit and get that down. So it's also been a little over a week since I sprayed the tenacity and triclopyr in the yard to try to kill off some of the random weeds that are in here. Had some spurge here and there in the yard, not a whole lot. A little bit of nut's edge. There was some ground ivy and some random broadleaf weeds. So you can see where I sprayed the ground ivy here. And being the first time that I have ever sprayed the triclopyr and tenacity, I didn't know it had the negative effects of making the fescue go a little bit white as well, which I'm told should recover. But right in the middle of it is the ground ivy, creeping Charlie. Some of it turned brown on me here. So I know it's a slow acting weed killer, so it just takes a little bit of time. Just stinks that similar parts of my yard started to turn white. But I guess sometimes it's the price you pay to try to get rid of some other weeds. You have some there's a couple nice sized bunches of it out here. Around here. All these spots where I had a bunch of the ground ivy, creeping Charlie, what have you. Another nice chunk of it there. So it should recover. Yes, I believe I had some, I believe it was goosegrass or foxtail or something. This is stuff that, at a certain point, had turned some sort of like a bright red. Kind of cool looking. But I believe that was the foxtail. Maybe not so much the goosegrass. There were a couple spots of nimblewill as well. Find it out here. It's out around this area. Yeah, there's some nimblewill in here. This is starting to lighten up. Here's another big patch of it over by my driveway, and that is getting some white tips on it like this. Take a look at that. So we got some nimblewill here at the end of the driveway, and you can see there's some white tips growing in on it. So looks like the tenacity is doing its job to that. So hopefully that'll start to die out. Alright, since it has been about 4 days since I put the watered the grass seed, since I put it down, 5 days since I put the seed down. I think I'm going to follow up on it in maybe about 2 or 3 more days to see what I got, to see if there's any germination of the grass seed down at the end of the front yard there, either on the Scots or the GCI seed. Right now I don't see anything on either of it, but I did just put down the starter fertilizer. I did put a small dose of the Ringer Lawn Restore over top of that, so I have some slow release organic nitrogen on it. So we'll check back on it here in I'd say probably a couple more days. I'll give it about 7 days, and we should see something one way or the other. For what I've seen typically on the Scots, just putting regular soil, not even doing the top dressing, and training it in to the soil. Usually within a week I was able to see something. So I would expect that I would see it a little bit quicker than 7 days with the way I did it this time, but we'll see. You know what? I just figured, since the girls are all in the back of the pool, and I'm playing around in there, and I already put the Ringer Lawn Restore across the whole backyard, and the rest of it I just did the little bit of a domination strip along my property lines. I did a double pass on it. But I'm due to put down the humic acid and sea kelp as well, so the backyard, I might as well go ahead and do it and get that down. One way or another, even if I do kill the backyard, at least the soil, the micronutrients and everything are all going to be there, so I can at least keep the soil levels correct. That way when the new grass seed goes down, if the new grass seed goes down, then at least I can have all those soil levels correct, so it should pop up and be pretty happy. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up a little bit of the sea kelp and the humic acid, and at least spray down the backyard. Alright, so I've got my sea kelp here. This is the GS Plant Foods Organic Liquid Kelp. I've got my humic acid that I made from the powder that I mixed together. Got my measuring cup here. So my chaping sprayer. So since I'm only going to do the backyard, and it's about 2,000 square foot, give or take. So I'm going to put down 2 ounces of each. So that'll give me 4 ounces total in the bottle, which means I need to double my spray rate so I can get all 4 ounces down within the 2,000 square foot. So instead of 1,000 square foot per ounce, I need to put down 2 ounces per 1,000, so I get an ounce of each to put that down. Alright, 2 ounces of the sea kelp. I'm going to switch hands. I'm actually right-handed. Be a little less shaky with the right hand. Or not. So my biggest complaint about this chaping sprayer is the mouth of the bottle is not big enough. So I can't fit everything in the small mouth. Giggity. Alright. Set that to the side. Alright, good to go. Alright, so I ran out a little bit shy, so I'll put another ounce of each in, finish it off. There's still maybe about a quarter of an ounce in there. So typically what I do is I just kind of pop a little bit more water in here, shake it around, kind of get that dilution mixed up, and then I just kind of crank it up on the dial. I'm all the way up on 10 teaspoons right now. That way I'll just kind of suck it all out, and then I just kind of go back over some of the other areas and hit it down with the diluted humic acid and sea kelp, just kind of get the rest of it out. I already had most of the actual application down. It's just kind of getting out the rest of it. So it's not a whole lot more on there, but you know, at least it's not going to waste. It is Wednesday, August 29th, and we've got some germination. This is the GCI turf that looks like has popped up first. It's only a few of them, maybe a handful. Up through here, right there, right here, some back here. So it looks like the GCI turf is coming in first. Looking down here at the Scots, I'm not really seeing anything. There is a couple weird blades of grass coming in there, here, but I can't imagine that is grass growing already. Maybe it is. So yesterday I was saying that I might not be able to do the backyard reno because the concrete guys haven't called me yet. So I said that unless they called me and the next day, that it probably wasn't going to happen. Their ears must have been burning because I tried reaching out to them today, left a voicemail for them, and my wife just got a text message from them and said that they're coming out tomorrow. So I did hear back from them today. It's kind of crazy how that works sometimes. So Renovation, I guess, is on. They'll be out tomorrow to start. They'll bring out some gravel and start putting stuff down and kind of getting everything ready. They won't pour for probably a couple more days, but it's on. All right, so since we got the text message from the patio guys saying that they're going to be out tomorrow, we had to do a mad rush to get the rest of the wood and the concrete footers that were still sitting out here. So we just went through and kind of busted that out pretty quick. So there was tons of the footers that were sitting here. We had the 2x6s, which we moved over here just so stuff's out of the way. We're actually going to do something with those. A couple of the footers are still sitting there. So the rest of them we managed to get into the few garbage cans that we had. So those will at least be out of the way. There's 2 left, but at least everything's out of the way. So, and it's getting ready to pour down rain on me. So everything's ready to go for tomorrow. So hopefully they, I guess the plan is they're going to kind of come out, look at things, and we've decided on the a pattern and everything for the patio. So I guess they'll kind of go through and lay down their gravel, kind of grate things out, frame it out, and that'll probably be it for day 1. And then day 2 they should come out and pour and do the pattern that we're going to do, and then the next day they'll come out and stain everything. So ideally they're going to kind of come out along this grass line out to where I just pulled out the pavers that I have my grill sitting on, and they're going to kind of go out toward the window well here, maybe about, I don't know, I can't remember if it's going to be at the end of the window well here or more toward the middle of the window well, but pretty much kind of lined up here, and it'll go down, and once it hits roughly about here, it'll curve around and go here. They're going to remove this out and all these pavers, so all this will all be concrete, new concrete here, and then it'll be concreted through here and kind of curve around, so everything's going to be curved, so no sharp edges or anything. Here with a patio, I don't like sharp edges. I like everything be kind of smooth and sleek, smooth around. So we'll see what things are going to look like tomorrow morning when they show up. All right, well, it is Thursday the 30th, and as promised, the patio guys did stop out. They got everything framed out, so you can see how large the patio is, and I want it to where it kind of curves in so there's no sharp edges on this patio. Even right here, they're actually going to use some other sort of, I don't know exactly what they said it was, but they're going to use something to kind of curve that end right here so it won't be a sharp edge there either. They're going to frame out Tuesday, I believe, when they were coming back out with the gravel. So they're going to give me a kind of like a half circle shape step going right there. So everything is in. They removed out a lot of the gravel that was there. They said they can use a lot of it, so that's kind of what's left over here. So they're going to come in with about 3 tons more and kind of fill all this in. In the meantime, that's the mess I got. So they will dig that out when they take everything, when they come in with the gravel. And I had quite a bit of a leveling issue. So all this through here, it was actually a fairly big hill, so this came up, so they graded a lot of this out. They wanted to come away from the house, so when that this hill here that I had was even worse. So since they had a dingo in here kind of digging out, I asked them to come through there and kind of level that out as well, so I didn't have to do that with my shovel and spend hours on that. So he just came in here in about 3 or 4 minutes, had that all leveled out for me. So once they get the patio done and I know exactly where this is going to end up, then I can kind of come in and kind of level stuff out up to the height of the patio. So it should look pretty good. So there's the first step. So obviously I can't really do anything with the backyard until this pile is removed and they're kind of completely done. So it's the next step. Guys, it is Labor Day 2018. So being Labor Day weekend, it's about time for us school season guys to start the overseeding process. So that means I need to start dropping down my height of cut so I can get the new grass seed down and start getting that established. So instead of using my push mower, which I've been using all season, instead I'm going to use the riding mower because the highest height of cut on it is about 3.5 inches. So I'm just going to use that. It's a little bit quicker. That'll allow me to hit it with a double pass and get it done a lot quicker. There's a lot going on. We got to close up our pool, pull out the garden, a few other things going on. So I want to kind of get through this a little bit quicker and drop that height of cut down. As you can see, it's gotten a little bit tall on me. It rained for a few days, so I didn't get around to it. But so I'm going to hit it with the riding mower, get it done a little bit quicker. I'll just have to be careful around my areas where I have the grass seed coming up. See, I have some pretty large areas here, so I'll probably come through with the push mower. I'll probably just draw a line and hit that with the riding mower, and then come finish up this other area with the push mower. You can see the grass seed's coming in pretty nice. It's been just over a week of since I started watering, so it's looking pretty good. This here is the Scots. That's the Scots Tall Fescue blend. That's pretty much the whole large area here, and then my 4 largest areas there by the road. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all GCI. It's actually looking a little bit taller than the fescue Scots blend. So it's looking pretty good. So once I am done with the mowing, I'll go through and give it a little bit of watering. It rained, I believe, Friday night for a little bit, kind of watered everything down, so I haven't watered in a few days, but seems like it's still holding quite a bit of moisture from the rain the other day. So I'm going to start mowing and get things cleaned up. And unfortunately with the double pass, the mulching did not go so well. There was tons of grass clippings sitting on top of the yard. Some of it right there. But what I did is I just took the mulching plug out of the mower and put my side discharge chute on it, which is the first time I've actually ever had it on that mower since I bought it. I've always had the mulching plug in it, and I've always only mulched with it, but I wanted to get the grass clippings off the top of the yard, so I had two options: either ride back over with the mower and try to side discharge it into a pile, or try to use the push mower and try bagging going back over it. Seemed like the push mower would have been quicker, but I'm not so sure. But I did go over, blew it all down into some piles. Two of them I already raked up. It's a whole garbage can full, so I've got to hit these two piles, get those all raked up, and I think I'll be done. Alright, so I did get the rest of that grass raked up and put into the garbage can. I managed to pack it all into that one can. Had to kind of push down on it pretty good to pack it in, but I did get it all raked up. I did not do the side yard. I just hit it with the riding mower, single pass, and then I took my push mower and hit around the areas where I have that new grass seed growing, because I didn't want to take a riding mower and chance running over that new established grass and kind of rut it up or anything. By the time I got done raking everything, I was just absolutely beat. It was a lot more work than what I had hoped for. So I just kind of called it quits. I didn't even mow the backyard. So I'll probably end up just finishing up mowing tonight or tomorrow. But that's going to call it for this week's video. Since there wasn't a whole lot else going on. The grass is going to continue to grow in that newly established area. I'll give another update video with that. Looking at it this morning as I came home from work, it's looking pretty good. All of it is maybe getting about a good inch and a half tall. Looks like the GCI seed is just a little bit taller than what the Scots is, so it might actually be growing a little bit quicker. And I think it could just be because of the type of grass seed. And both of them have the same type of soil, and the GCI is actually closer to the road, so it's going to have more of that heat, so it'd be more prone to having the water dry out. And it's still doing pretty good, and actually better than the Scots. So I think that is good news so far. So from what I see of the GCI grass seed, I think it is going to do really well. I can't really tell, if it's going to be a darker green compared to the rest of it or not, because it's still, baby grass. So it all kind of looks the same right now. But we'll see in maybe a couple more weeks, once I finally get maybe a first mow on it and it really fills in, then I'll be able to really tell the difference between the two. But that'll call it for this week. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know anything else that I could do to improve, or something else you want to see, or if you have any questions that I'm doing with the lawn, and I'll see you in the next video.